Welcome to Module 3. In this module, we will look at key concepts and general considerations for reliance. By the end of this module, you will be able to describe the key concepts and general considerations for reliance. Increasing levels of reliance can improve efficiency and help to build trust between different NRAs. Let's look at this in more detail. Historically, standard processes are where authorities work independently, with independent decisions based on their own reviews and inspections, and limited information sharing between authorities. With this approach, there is usually some duplication of work. Through increased work sharing and joint activities or abridged pathways using reliance, authorities can leverage the work of other trusted authorities. This can help to reduce both workload and duplication of effort. Recognition can be seen as a more formalized approach to reliance, whereby one regulatory authority or country recognizes the decisions of another regulatory authority, system, or institution. This can remove the need for additional regulatory assessment for an authority to reach its own decision. Recognition usually requires formal and binding legal provisions. Recognition can be unilateral or mutual. Unilateral recognition is when a country chooses to rely on or formally recognize an assessment from another country unilaterally and without reciprocity. Mutual recognition may be based on binding mutual agreements or treaties negotiated at the level of government. A demonstration of the equivalence of regulatory systems is usually a prerequisite for mutual recognition. Reliance should be applied in all regulatory functions throughout the life cycle of a medical product. Reliance should be used for all stages of the life cycle. For example, it can be used for clinical trial authorization, scientific advice, initial authorization of medical products through to vigilance and other post-authorization activities. Each NRA should define its own strategy for an appropriate risk-based approach to reliance, which includes factors such as the type and source of products evaluated, the level of resources and expertise available in the NRA, the public health needs and priorities of the country, and opportunities for reliance. For example, for marketing authorization, 4 different reliance-based regulatory pathways and levels of reliance could be envisaged, with increasing degrees of assessment by the relying NRA. The first level is the verification of sameness of the medical product, to ensure that it is the same as that assessed by the reference regulatory authority. Sameness should always be verified in any of the reliance approaches listed here. The second level could be the confirmation of the applicability of the assessment outcomes of another authority for regulatory decision-making in the national context. The NRA may decide to evaluate how the foreign assessment applies to their national settings, and if any additional assessment is required, for example in terms of stability data, national product information, or medical indication. The third level could be an abridged assessment of data on quality, safety, and efficacy or performance, taking into account information in the assessment reports of the reference regulatory authority. The NRA may decide to conduct a peer review or abridged review of the available assessment. The fourth level could be a joint assessment or work sharing between 2 or more regulatory authorities. This may take various forms, including a primary review by one authority, followed by a joint assessment session to finalize the report or distribution of the modules, quality, safety, or efficacy between the authorities. In some regions, medical products can be assessed centrally in a regional regulatory system. In some regional reliance mechanisms, the regional decision is binding on the member states, such as in the European Union. In other regions, regional decisions are recommendations that member states take into consideration when making national regulatory decisions, such as the Southern African Development Community Collaborative Procedure, ZAZI-BONA, the Gulf Health Council, and the Caribbean Regulatory System. A number of considerations can guide reliance approaches and facilitate their implementation. For example, reliance should be anchored in a national regulatory authority strategy. The use of reliance approaches may require a cultural change by moving to a more innovative, effective way of working based on trust and relying on the outputs of other NRAs. Reliance also requires flexibility in approach to ensure reliance strategies should be tailored to the needs of the national health and regulatory systems. Reliance should increase the efficiency of a regulatory system in a country or region, but an investment of resources and time is required at the beginning in implementing reliance approaches. This may include legislative changes, developing pathways and processes, and staff training. Verification of the sameness of a medical product in different jurisdictions is important, including maintenance of sameness for post-authorization reliance approaches. The role of the manufacturer is essential to confirm the sameness of a product and to provide the same documentation to different NRAs. Industry plays a crucial role in successful use of reliance mechanisms by NRAs. Industry support and stringent adherences to factors that validate the reliance process are essential for filing applications in several countries or regions to ensure the sameness of products submitted to reference regulatory authorities and relying NRAs. WHO encourages NRAs to monitor and evaluate the impact of regulatory reliance, including its benefits, in their country and region, and to share their experiences with other regulatory authorities. You have now completed Module 3. In the next module, we will look at an example of the use of reliance.